not to invest money to generate electricity so that I can unleash the economic potentials of this country. I should desist from investing in such infrastructure and now shift focus to education or human capital, as it's generally called. I will fundamentally disagree. Honestly, I do disagree with the World Bank in the position that emphasis should be on education and health. The two must go together. The fiscal infrastructure plus, the human capital should concurrently be, balanced and funded in a sustainable manner. Anything short of that, honestly, is harakiri to say the least. Just yesterday, if you follow what has happened on a competitive index, table that was released yesterday, Nigeria was able to move 10 steps forward to 115th, country in terms of our competitive index. What were some of the parameters that were used in determining our competitive level of our economy? The same infrastructure, the same physical infrastructure that the World Bank president is telling us now we shouldn't emphasize on our investment on. Kinsley, I think we need to be a little careful. Still, we need to come back to our senses. We need to come back home and sit down and say, where do we want to be in the next 20 years, in the next 50 years? If you look at the trajectory of human life, human history in general, 100 years ago, what was the vogue in the world? Army, platoon of army, 1 million army in China. The Roman Empire has so much. How did we develop from that? We now develop from, instead of having mass army to, mass, arms and ammunition, fewer mankind, fewer, army of people. Then you move to the next level. Where is the war or the competitiveness of nation going? Trade, investment, human capital. So you need to move from one level to another. And each society has its own developmental stages. Europe and Americas, they have moved, out of that developmental stage of having virtually every nook and cranny of Europe has electricity, has road network, has, train stations and what have you. We haven't reached that. And you're telling me, forget about physical infrastructure, concentrate about, on human capital development. To say the least, I beg to differ, and I will categorically and forcibly suggest to government of Nigeria not to take that, approach, but to look at the two situations jointly instead of putting emphasis on one as against another.
Shuaibu Idris, economic and financial analyst and member of the National Institute, MNI. We want to thank you very much. And we also want to thank Tilewa Adebajo, a financial analyst also in Lagos. So thank you very much for your views. Let's come back to Abuja now. Professor Ken, let's have your closing thoughts on this issue.
Yeah, we've done justice to the advice, but there are three other major advice that were rolled out, Nigeria, targeting Nigeria. One is that the consequence of the global trade war going on right now would mean that we have to invest more on regional trade. That was a big advice. So we should be looking at our Africa continental trade and also our ECOWAS. So see whether we're going to get going there. Second advice on debt sustainability and where they offer to help develop debt sustainability frameworks. They also develop policy, debt limit policy. And we need that because our Responsibility Act didn't go far to tell us the limit on domestic and foreign borrowing. And the third one is build fiscal buffer. And of course, our CBN governor differed from them by saying, look, we want to focus on maintaining financial system stability. And there's a big debate on underlining that because our situation today is slightly different from our situation in 2015-16. So there's a lot in there.
All right, Professor Ken Ife, macroeconomic policy analyst with us here in the Abuja studios. Always a delight having you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you.
We also would like to go over to Benin to express our appreciation to Professor Michael Badan, Professor of Economics and also a non-executive director and member of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Professor Michael Badan, thanks a lot for your insights. And of course, we're